Man, you're a minute late.
Uh, you're
The clock was ticking, my friend.
you're
The
just
clock was ticking.
I like how you're all up my ass
Uh,
for
you know, I
for
got I got somebody's got to keep you on your toes.
calling it 5:01 instead of 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're just being a petty bitch at this point.
Well, what do
Hey,
we got going on today?
well, I mean, I pushed off scheduling a call with Billy because I thought we might have plenty to talk about today. And then I
Good.
can always just tell Billy that you pushed it off and kind of get him a little more worked
Let,
up,
let's
so
let's
he's a
just
little
not tell
more.
Billy. No, but let's just not tell Billy anything. Sounds like a solid plan.
I feel like this is a departure from your recent uh, attitude about Billy. You were all pumped up on yourself for having lost 6 pounds out of 80,
Okay, but
and
why don't we just let?
and
No, no,
thinking you were
no.
a tough guy again. That you're talking about kicking him in the head and shit like that. So
Let's tell Billy the podcast has been canceled. It doesn't. There's no podcast anymore. He doesn't even need to know. I saw. You think
cancel
you're
cult,
slick,
cancel culture got to us.
right? And you think you're slick. You think I don't see you tagging his daughter on TikTok, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him a TikTok." No, Billy doesn't need a TikTok. Billy's got two social medias that are enough for him. Okay, he doesn't need any more.
I forgot I tagged his daughter. I did. You're right.
You did. You did.
Well,
Yeah, we don't need that.
all right. Well, I would love for Billy to get a TikTok, just so he could comment on things. And see what the foolishness you're doing over there. I think that might
No,
that
no.
might that might throw him into a violent rage all on
That
its own.
that actually may throw him over the edge. Yes. Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
in fairness,
Yeah.
I was told by him though, when I talked to him on Friday or Thursday night, maybe it was. I don't remember. It's been so long now. That if we were to discuss him on a podcast, for me to let him know and kind of give him like a timestamp so he could just jump to
He did. I did see him say that. So,
it.
uh, just let's timestamp him the wrong time. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
deceiving the man. That's gonna go on your list. All
Oh,
right.
come on, come on.
I feel like we left things where we left things last week, uh,
Right.
previously on the Furlough Files, was that you were still kind of in a bitter battle, feud, rivalry, uh, uh, name the term, with your internet provider, Spectrum, which I guess
Right.
they're really technically like, are they more of a cable company? I don't know, but
I don't know what they are. They suck. That's what they are. Yeah.
I think that before we get into anything actually interesting, I feel like there are a few people that actually powered through the last two podcasts and might want a resolution of this situation, if there was a resolution.
Well, so just to kind of recap, my internet went out on. It's been out since the 28th of July. So what is that? What's
Oh
today? The 8th.
no, today's the 10th. What are you talking about?
So it went out the 28th. Okay.
Mhm.
The guy comes, he puts in a new router, new modem. This is after days of days. They didn't show up. They told me they were going to come. They never came. They
And
didn't
this
come.
when this
No
guy
call.
when this guy shows up to bring it, it's at like 10 o'clock at night, right?
Right. And he does it. He fixes it. It works for about 4 hours and then it stops working.
Right.
Internet's dead. Now, I'm calling. They can't get anybody out here. So, we went to our good friend of the show, Bobby Rogers. His sister happens to work for them.
Well,
And
you're kind of glossing over it. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but I made a post or a tweet. And then he saw the title of the show and he called me and said, "What's wrong with Spectrum?" So I explained the story to him. He had me on speakerphone. The sister was there. She's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to handle this. I
And
got this."
that's when it's, see, you're doing a poor job of storytelling here, because then it was revealed to you that his sister is a big muckety muck with the company.
Right. She's somewhere up on the chain.
Like
And
when this lady calls people start stuttering and shaking in their boots and get nervous.
Well, so when they called me back to tell me that they were going to have an appointment, this, that, and the other, the lady mentioned her name, like mentioned Bobby's sister's name, which I'm not going to say her name on the air, but mentioned his sister's name as like, we know you know her. Like it was like, we know you know her, and we're going to get on this. But they didn't get on it right away because they're like, we don't have anybody in your area. So I had to wait all the way till yesterday. Yesterday was the day that they could get somebody out here. So he shows up early, and now I've had the tech come out. We've replaced the modem, a router. They got me troubleshooting like I worked for the company all the way since the 28th. This guy comes out yesterday.
It's almost 2 weeks. That's almost 2 weeks.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So he pulls in yesterday, and I knew things were going to be okay because he pulled in, and I went outside, and we met, and he goes, hey, he said, hey, how are you? I said, hey, how you doing? And he goes, where you from? That's what he said to me. And I said, where you from? Because we both knew. We locked eyes. And he goes, I'm from New York. I was like, oh, I was born in New York.
You smelled the dollar pizza slice on each other's breath.
Right. And he said, I'm from New York. And I said, oh, I was born in New York, but I grew up in South Florida. And he's like, Queens. I was like, oh, when my first, like as a baby, we lived in Queens, in Astoria. And he's like, what? And then he gets out, and it was already like, we're cool, right? Like it was, he knew he wasn't leaving here till my internet was fixed yesterday because
can't leave
the connection.
Fellow New Yorker hanging.
Right. So then he's like, you Yankees or Mets? I'm like, Yankees. He's like, I'm Mets. I'm like, oh
no.
I said, all right. I said, you Giants or Jets? He said, Jets. I said, I'm Giants.
Oh no. And, this is
right.
This is chink in the armor. This is Blake Chadwick territory.
Right. And
picking the wrong New York teams here.
Right, but we were cool about it, right? And we just started shooting the shit about sports a little bit. But I knew
it was like a mini Subway series, all happening in your front yard.
Right, but I knew he wasn't leaving until it was fixed. So he does some tests, and he's like, you know what? He said, I think it's the cable. And I said, well, that's great. Nobody ever checked the cable. He went outside. He was outside for about 20 minutes. The cable that
you've mentioned to them, like.
Right.
Like
it's not buried, by the way. The cable that's not buried. It's not buried since April. It's exposed to the world. My lawn guy has to lift it up every time he mows the lawn. So he goes outside.
How many times did he not lift it up before he lifted it up?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, oh, shit.
Right. But here's the thing. He goes outside. He's outside for about 20 minutes. He comes in, and he goes, I found the problem. I said, what's the problem? He goes, the cable was loose in the box that's all the way by the street. It was loose. And he goes, it's probably loose because they didn't fucking bury it, and people have been pulling and tugging on it. It came loose. And I said, you know what? They're probably right. I said, they're not burying this thing, though. So he's like, let me finish this, and then we'll get to the burying part. So he fixes it, fixes everything. We're working full steam, shows me everything. And this is how I know he was a good dude. I did the review, which I never do the reviews for those things. I gave him 5 stars to put him over because he goes, I'm going to be real with you, man. You want a faster internet? Go buy your own router. The routers we give you are trash. So he goes on Amazon, shows me, like trying to hook me up, like, hey, buy this one. It's the one I have. And so I was like, all right, this guy's a good dude. So he goes to look in the notes, and he goes, oh, there's already a note in here that your line it's got to be buried. He said, did you tell somebody? Now, mind you, I did not mention it the 28th to now. I've never mentioned the line wasn't buried to the people on the phone.
But you mentioned it to his sister, right?
Right. So he sees the note in there from his sister, from Bobby's sister, saying this line's got to be buried. So he adds to it. He goes, let me add to it. And he adds, this line's got to be buried. And, so he's like, we'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. So, whatever. He says, bye, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This morning, I wake up and Bobby's calling. I mean, it's 7:30. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He goes, the line will be buried Thursday. I said, what?
I love how a relative that doesn't work for the company is calling you with the appointment, not anyone officially from Spectrum.
Right, from Spectrum. I said, what do I have to do? He goes, nothing. You don't even have to be home. They're going to bury the line Thursday. Yeah. So it gets buried. It's been since April. I have a feeling that this would have been till next April if nobody ever, if I didn't have the connection here.
And what clever thing did I say to you yesterday?
What'd you say?
When I asked if they buried the line, you were like, "No." I said, "Well, that's a coincidence because we're about to bury them tomorrow on the podcast."
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So when Bobby called, he said, they're going to bury the line. It'll be Thursday, blah, blah. I said, all right. He goes, I actually asked him if they'd bury Nick as well. They said no.
Oh, God, I wish.
Yeah.
Well, since you brought up Nick, the dick, did he, I need a mustache update. Did he shave it off? It looked like he kind of cleaned his lip off the other day.
He did. He cleaned it up. He cleaned the whiskers on his chin.
I mean, it was pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
Yeah, he cleaned it up. He definitely cleaned it up.
Yeah. All right. Because
he's got a girlfriend now, so he's got to,
Oh, she probably laid down the line. Next thing you know, she'll make him make a Facebook post about how they're in a relationship.
Holy shit! Oh, you went there. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, for context, we better just let everybody know. Just for the record, Blake Chadwick is now in a Facebook relationship. Our buddy.
Well,
this morning we all saw it. Last night.
I don't even feel bad about blowing his spot up because it's publicly posted on Facebook.
Right. Right.
Now, let's just say like if this was like still the 90s when we were kind of growing up, these posts would be followed up with a bunch of posts calling him gay. For
right. Right. Well, so I would just say I saw it. My reaction was immediately to message you the picture that his new girlfriend posted, and I was like, "This has got to be a meme."
Well, now here's the funny thing: is that my phone was, I guess, off for charging, or had died, and then I plugged in the charge and hadn't turned it on.
Right.
And I had seen his post, which said it was just as vague, but as like it's like if you're trying to appease somebody with the most minimal possible. He didn't tag her in it and say with. It was just in a relationship. He could have been in a 10-minute relationship with a ham sandwich for all we knew, from this post. But then because he was tagged in her post, it was whatever her name is in a relationship with Blake Chadwick.
Right.
And then, of course, I had to then click on, because I had to then click on her.
Right.
And then I started seeing a flood of pictures of her and him that we had never seen because... Right,
because it's almost like we never knew this existed.
Right, I didn't. It was
he's
the kayfabe king.
Right.
And we're like, oh, he's been seeing this girl a while. And then what was funny is, how do you want to tell this? What order? But so I had come across this picture where it's her blowing out the candle on like a slice of like fucking cake at some restaurant, and it's her birthday post, and she's happy to be with Blake, and it's Instagram stuff, and he's tagged with his Instagram handle, and the look he's giving her in that like brief second, like they're sitting in a booth next to each other, and it's a shot of her blowing out the candle on the cake, and the look is like, what would you say, like 50% disgust and 50% like disdain or something. They're very close emotions, but I felt like two things out of it. It's just a side eye shot. It's like a total like side eye shot, and it's probably like
it's the face of like he's looking at her like, what the fuck are you doing? That's what the face looks like.
And maybe there's judgment in it. Like maybe there's like a cheat day involved, or something. And I saved the picture because it was like we have in our internal chat. Anytime a good picture of any of us comes up, we're always using them against each other and creating internal dialogue only memes. Like if these saw the light of day publicly, it would be a disaster for us. But there's some real fucking savage jokes that are told within the four of us. So I downloaded it and I made two. I made one where, the 4 blocks where it keeps zooming in, where the last block is just like his face, like a close-up of the disgusted face. And then the other one was just the photo, like zoomed back out. And I wrote text like he's like internally talking or muttering under his breath that says, "I'm gonna like smother you in your sleep or strangle you in your sleep," because that's the look.
Yeah.
So
right.
I go to I think I go to sleep.
Yeah, because it was I think I sent it to you like sometime. It was late.
It was late, and I get this message from you with the picture that I hadn't posted yet in our group. That said, "This has to become a meme." And I'm like, that's funny. I've already made 2 of it.
I knew it.
And I sent one right after you said that to our group. And then I woke up in the morning and sent the other one. And then we talked and we were laughing over the fact that you had sent it to me. And I was way ahead of you, buddy.
So funny, though. That was our first thought.
And then, of course... The first one I sent, he like totally no-sold. He didn't like.
Right,
he didn't react to it at all. And then the second one, he just wrote, "Wow!" Like you could tell he's not happy that we are now aware of this situation.
Right, that we were not aware of whatsoever. Right,
right. And now we're starting to.
And I gotta tell you, I know he doesn't listen to the podcast, but I got a message from someone today that said, "Did you know about this?" Someone that we all know, and I said, "Not really." I think it was a surprise to everybody.
What, a mutual friend? Like, I know him?
A mutual, right.
Oh, you're going to have to tell me off the air or give me some initials right now.
Oh, you know this person. These people very well.
These people.
It's two. We'll talk about... I don't want to throw anybody under the bus on the air.
Are these men or women?
Women, of course.
Oh, it's probably DV and JJ.
Close. Close. You got one of them right.
Oh, okay. All right. I know. They're in that chat. Okay. I get you. Okay.
Yeah, they were like, "Did you know about this?" And I was like, "Whoa, why am I being questioned?"
The other tall blonde.
Yeah,
I know.
Right.
Okay.
I'm like, why am I being questioned on Blake's dating status? I was like, I had no clue.
Right. These girls think guys talk about women the way women talk about guys with each other. It's like,
and even if he did tell me, what was I supposed to clue them in? Like, I don't understand. Like, why is that my job?
Yeah, it's like we don't talk about feelings or our girlfriends. That shit doesn't. I mean,
if anybody got to look into our group chat, it's basically around wrestling, food, right? Like wrestling and food are a major part of what we post. And usually it's one of us bitching about something somewhere along the way.
Well, also, it's where we shit on other people. Like
right. And send TikToks to each other.
Yes. A lot of memes and TikToks for sure.
Right.
It's so like superficial and like meaningless.
It's like Mean Girls, but you know.
Yeah. We don't have any conversations of any quality in there.
Nope, zero.
I'm not sure we've gotten to know each other any better as people in the last 5 years.
Right. Right. So, yeah, but I mean, I got an internet. We're good. Internet's working.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a bad storm right now, and I'm like, oh, this is what happened last time.
It's your test.
Right.
Because that cable's still unburied.
Right. So this morning I looked outside and I was like, after Bobby had called me, and I go, I don't even see the cable, but he kind of like moved it a little bit, like in the grass, so it wasn't like through the middle of my yard. He kind of like snaked it around, so it's there, but he made it a little safer so it didn't get like run over. But yeah, so
that cable's been sitting on top of your lawn. How long have you had that house? How long have you had well, not the house, but I mean, how long have you had Spectrum? A year?
Since April.
Oh, April. Oh, so not that long.
Right. Maybe I got it in April. I switched from AT&T to Spectrum in April.
4 months or something like that.
Right. But still, like, I mean, you don't leave it hanging out there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they would have never come and fixed it if I didn't have the hookup.
No. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess if you called enough, maybe, but.
Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, so we got internet. We're good. That's the excitement of that story. We beat the hell out of that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I did have another story that I brought up to you yesterday that I've never told. I've never told you.
You need to tell these as in-depth and detailed as possible. Like,
and I've never told this story. I didn't know that you didn't know this story.
We need to hear about like specifics on all the hangouts and all the ridiculousness, because this is
right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back in time here. This is early 2000s. Me and Eric, we were wrestling. We were the Vandals, and we were, we were young. We were in shape. I didn't look like I look like now.
Like a big old.
Right. I was pretty jacked, and I had like no fat. I mean, I was pretty solid.
All right.
Look,
calm down. I've seen the pictures.
I'm just saying.
I could say you weren't fat. The rest of it.
I wasn't fat. No.
I'll agree on that part of it. The jacked and whatever. Let's relax.
I mean, but anyway, so we were like the hottest thing in Florida wrestling at that time, like tag team. We were, the ladies loved us. Nothing's changed there. We were hot, right? We were hot on the scene.
Well, and you played that gimmick up. I think you guys embraced that whole like lady, like the ladies love you. I mean, you guys had a shirt. What did you have that?
I was about to just say that. So the shirt our first shirt we ever had made, we were tag team champions. We were working for Bobby at the time. Bobby was running the most successful promotion in South Florida, probably the most successful in the United States at that time. And we were the tag team champions, and we were drawing. I mean, the shows would sometimes have, a couple thousand people, 1,000 people, 800-900. He always had big shows, right? I mean, Davey Rodeo was a couple 4,000. And we were the tag team champions. And Bobby's idea for the first shirt ever was, he goes, I got this idea. I'm going to make a shirt. It's going to say, I've been vandalized. Now, he didn't tell us the concept of the shirt. He just said it's going to be tank tops. And the tank top's going to say, I've been vandalized, because we were the Vandals.
Right.
So we were like, oh, awesome.
Which cool. Could imply like more of the violent side of things, that or that they just saw you perform. But this was Go ahead.
So the shirts come out, and I remember we get to the show that day, and we're all excited.
Yeah. I was gonna say, how excited were you? First shirt.
Yeah, well, because we worked our first shirts ever. We were so young and new to the business, and we were super pumped. Like, I mean, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I was about to have my own shirt. So he takes the shirts, he opens the box, takes the shirt out, and they're black tank tops that say, I've been vandalized. Bobby didn't tell us that I've been vandalized was going to be written as if we jizzed on the shirt. And it looked like I've been vandalized was written across, and it looked like dripping cum. That's what it looked like. And it's funny because I think a normal person's reaction would have been like, oh my God. Me and Eric looked at each other, we're like, this is fucking awesome. And it was marketed towards the women.
And I bet you subliminally, it just like to the right type of wrestling fan, that it convinces them. It like, I bet you just seeing you guys in those shirts turned a few girls into rats for you. Like, just
easily.
It's just like that hidden like message that kind of goes into their brain all show.
Right. So that night they were on sale, so we wore them to the ring, and I remember we came out, big show, rodeo arena, 1,500 people there, and we got in the ring, and we came out first, and at the time I think we came out first or something. I don't remember what the match was, and we looked around, and I looked at Eric, and I said, there's like 30 girls wearing this tank top right now in the crowd, like just spread out through the crowd. And they're all looking at us like, I've been vandalized. Like, and it became a thing at that point. Right on point. What you said is they would wear the shirt. And then like when we would come out to the ring, they would, you're slapping hands or whatever, and they would go, vandalize me. And I'm like, these girls all want to be jizzed all over. This is insane. Like, Bobby is a fucking genius.
It's almost like you gotta like afterwards be like, you gotta earn that shirt. It doesn't just, you can own that shirt, but you haven't earned the right to wear that shirt yet.
Right. But it was insane because, and then like, I would wear the shirt everywhere at the time, the tank top. Like, I'd be going to the supermarket wearing it, and people would be like, what the fuck? But he sold, Bobby sold like
you wearing
lots of
a
those
shirt
shirts.
saying you've been vandalized.
I know,
Come.
right?
It's
Right.
like
A little weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's implying you might play for the other team.
Right. Right. Well, but the shirts were, I mean, they were only tank tops, but then like we started seeing guys wearing them, and
Oh my god.
and it wasn't. I think they were wearing them just because they thought it was cool. Like like it wasn't like they didn't want to be vandalized. They just thought it was cool, right?
Right.
Like But yeah, and it's funny because I don't even have one. I never saved one. Eric may have one still. I gotta find out because that was probably the coolest shirt ever. Just because in that time, I mean, young and the women, we were just like the women loved us wrestling, so it was, they were all wearing them. And
Plus, you could get away with all of this bullshit back then.
right, it was so easy to, right, and they loved it. I mean, like I said, we would come out to the ring and they would just be like, "I want you to vandalize me," or like after the show, you'd be at like the after party and they'd be like, "So, like, you're gonna vandalize me?" It became a thing, and it was like it was crazy being so young and we thought we were rock stars at that time. But it leads me to this story. This is how we're going to go with this.
Well, before you get into that though,
Yeah.
I mean, you it's also like you combine it with the Kavorka, and it was probably insane. And I know that we made that one shirt like years later when like the last before you became a Slambino and you were still Tommy Vandal. We made that because it was a "I'm a Paul Heyman guy" shirt,
right?
And we made a "I'm a Tommy Vandal girl" shirt, and
right.
we made it like in like teal or aqua or something with pink,
and I still those
pink letters.
I still have some,
and so we made a bunch of those. And I mean, first of all, they would have sold better, except that you had everyone wanting a freebie, and you're a soft touch.
Right.
But also, I just remember we were at a show with Jackie and Jessica and Jessica's niece.
Yes.
And she's like, I want a Tommy Vandal shirt, and Jessica was like, absolutely fucking not.
Absolutely not. Right. Yeah. And I still have those shirts. I think I want to say I have like 6 or 7 of them somewhere.
Oh.
That say I'm a Tommy Vandal girl. And sometimes I would wear that out too a lot just because I had them. And I would wear them and people would be like, "What the fuck is this guy wearing?" It's my daughter has one still that she sometimes wears to bed that she has. But I have them somewhere, like 6 or 7 of them.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It was a good design. It was a good color thing.
It was, right. And it was obviously made for women, but
right.
But it leads to this story. So
yeah.
I was telling you yesterday about it, and you were like, "Well, you never told this story." So I feel like it's got to be told. So somewhere in the early 2000s, I don't remember the year. That time of my life is a little hazy.
Yeah.
We were tag team champions, hottest thing, Vandal shirts with dripping comb, all that good stuff. We were like on top of the world. We honestly thought we were rock stars. We lived in Boca Raton, Florida, and at that time there was a tennis player also out of Boca Raton, Florida, who was like top tennis player in the world. His name was Andy Roddick. If you know tennis, he's pretty famous. He's won a lot of ranked championships.
He was ranked number 1 in the world.
Number 1 in the world, right? So at this time, he was hot. Like he was a hot tennis player at this time. He may have been number 1 at this time. I don't even know, but he lived in our town, and me and Eric had some mutual friends. We used to go to this bar in Boca, and we had mutual friends from this bar, and that's how we ended up meeting him. And he was like, he wanted to go to a wrestling show. He found out we were wrestlers, and he was like, "I want to go to a show," because we were like hanging out one night, whatever. And we got him to come, like him and came with a group of people to the show, to one show to start.
That you were wrestling on?
Yeah, so it was at the Davie Rodeo Arena, and he came to the show. Now, we were not tag team champions that night. We were the challengers.
Wait. He went to his first show was the Davie Arena show, or you guys did more than one?
No, we did more than one. We were doing them every couple months. So
okay.
He came to the show.
Not the King of Carnage one though.
No, he was at that show. I'm almost certain he was at that show though.
Okay.
But so he came to the first show. We got him. He came with our boys, whatever, and he was Punisher, who was a 7-foot monster of a man. He was a wrestler too. So we all kind of hung out. So we all hung out at the same bar because we all lived in Boca. So we met Andy Roddick, and which is cool because like we knew he was like a major tennis star. So that night we were the challengers, and we do our match, and it's funny because I remember we came out to the ring, and our crew was sitting front row. There was a couple thousand people at the show, and I remember we looked over, and our crew was there, like whatever. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Settle your shit over there. What's going on?
Yeah, no, my headphone died. So I remember looking into the crowd. I can even tell you, this is how much it's burned into my head. I can tell you where they were sitting, the side of the building, everything. And I looked over, and all our boys are like, yeah, and Andy Roddick has a beer in his hand, which he's holding like way up in the air, and he is going nuts. He had never been to a live event, wrestling show ever. And he is just totally nerding out to wrestling, right? To us. Like, we know him, so from the bar and this and that. So anyway, we win the tag team titles that night. We win the titles. We're the champions, whatever. Yeah. Afterward, we all go back to Boca, which is about a 30-minute drive from the venue, to meet at the bar where we all hang out. And we get back in the bar that night, and me and Eric got there a little bit later than them, obviously, because we had to get, leave the show, get paid, wait for Bobby to pay us, all that shit. So we get there, and Andy Roddick, #1 tennis player in the world, we walk in, and he is just like, first of all, he's lit. He's hammered drunk, and he is so excited to see me and Eric, because I think in his mind he thought it was real. like he didn't we come in and he's like, oh, my boys, like, we're hugging him, and everybody's going crazy in the bar, and they're like, the tag team champions. He's like, where are the belts? And we're like, they're in the car. He's like, get the belts. So Eric go outside, we get the belts. We walk back in with the belts, and everybody's like, going crazy, and the whole bar is packed, and everybody's going crazy like we really won the world championship. And Andy Roddick takes the belts and he puts them over his shoulders, and that's the last we saw of the belts the whole night. He walked around the bar with the belts like he was the tag team champion. And he was just showing it off to everybody. And he would tell them, my boys won the titles tonight. They're the tag team champions. And we're like,
that's
fantastic. #1 in the world.
Listen,
but that night,
out of curiosity, I know he's like huge in the tennis world, but what does that translate to in the real world? Does he get recognized by random people, like when you're hanging out at the bar? Not when he's drawing attention to himself, but just in general, or at the show when he's like at one of your wrestling things. Do people know who he is, or is he just another person?
At the show, nobody recognized him. Come on.
Yeah, wrestling and tennis probably don't overlap that much.
But now, like back at home, because he was from there, like everybody knew him too. So obviously people were coming up to him and hey, what's up, Andy? He don't know them, and he was like, "What's up, guys?" But nobody was like, they were cool with him.
I just didn't know, being a #1 ranked tennis player,
right?
Are you still kind of anonymous outside of the tennis world? Like, can you go places and not be recognized? I don't know.
People knew him in the bar, like they knew, and it like they knew because he lived in the town. They knew that the #1 tennis player in the world was from there, right? Like so, right. But I think it was they see him in a bar acting like, and we had our own little spots, so nobody really came. And Punisher was there, and nobody's going to walk past a 7-footer and try anything, right? So a 7-foot, like 350-pound monster. But yeah, so he's got the belts and all this. Well, at this time, he was dating Mandy Moore, the famous singer at the time. And he calls Mandy on his phone. He's got her on speakerphone, and he's telling Mandy Moore, like he's totally hammered, and he's just telling her about the night. Like, I went to my first wrestling. My boys won the titles. And she's just like, I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. Like, totally clueless to what he's screaming about, yelling about. And you could tell he was probably getting some heat from her because, like, he's hammered, #1. He's out at a bar. He went to a wrestling show. He's blabbering stuff. She's probably like, who tag team what? But I remember that because he's like, let's call Mandy. I was like, let's call Mandy. I don't know, like.
Ironically though, you would think that if she had like maybe hung out with you guys once, like met you, and
Right.
then also went with him to this event and had like a drink or two to loosen up just a little bit, and saw people she knew doing this crazy thing and winning that she probably would have had a great time.
She would have, because that event was really fun. Like I remember.
Right. But being called like in the middle of the night by a drunk boyfriend talking about pro wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was late. It was midnight, So we partied, and it ended up we partied that night with him. Pranced around with the belts, but that wasn't the end of it. We exchanged numbers. He wanted to come to the shows, and he started coming. He started coming to them like more regularly, just with the group of guys. But he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the wrestling. He enjoyed all of that. He enjoyed drinking, I guess. But he was like a staple. So Andy Roddick he's a big tennis player, like we said, number one guy. He's watching me and Eric wrestle as if we're the famous ones, and I'm like, you're the guy making millions. I get a hot dog and a handshake. I'm lucky. I'm lucky I made $50 tonight.
Well, yeah, you might. Your biggest payday is probably from a rat later.
Well, now in those days though, I will say, we were taken care of way better. The envelopes were a lot heavier back in that day.
Right.
I don't know where Bobby was getting the money from, but whatever. I mean, 250 a night wasn't bad. So we ended up, like I said, he ended up coming to the shows. We hung out with him at the bar a lot. It was always a good time. He was crazy wild. Well, obviously he goes on to be the number one tennis player in the world. He's, goes his way, I go my way. Well, in 2004, Nick the Dick was born, and in Boca Raton. And I want to say this was probably 2005 this happened. Maybe 2006. Nick was a baby, and I had him in the shopping cart. We were going to Publix, and I do my shopping in Publix. He's in the little baby seat doing our shopping. I've lost touch with Andy Roddick over the years, and we're doing shopping, and I get my stuff, and I'm leaving, and I'm walking out in the parking lot, and this guy's walking towards me, and he's like, hey. And I don't even break stride because I'm like, who the fuck is this jabron? And I just keep walking, and I said, hey, and I kept going because I was like, I don't know this guy. Well, I get like a little bit past him, maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 feet, and I turn around, and he's still standing in the same spot. He said hi to me, but he's looking back at me like, did this guy just blow past me? And he waves, and I just waved, like, I don't know. And he keeps going, and I get in the car. I put Nick in the baby seat. I get in the car, and I'm like, who the fuck was that guy? Like, I think in my head, he looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. And I was like, man, he was really disappointed, like, that I didn't stop and have a conversation. And it hit me. That was Andy fucking Roddick. I blew him off.
Fucking big-timed Andy Roddick, your good friend, your drinking buddy. The guy that came to shows and supported you. I mean, that's rough. I feel his heartbreak.
I mean, it was years later. A lot of hits to the head. I got a child. And it just didn't dawn on me till I got in the car, and I was like, oh my God. I will tell you though, to this day, it bothers me that I blew Andy Roddick off at Publix.
It bothers me too, and I'm just hearing the story now.
I'm sure it bothers him to this day. He's probably like that dickhead was a world champion. We partied together, and he blew me off. I blew off the number one tennis player in the world. I didn't recognize him in the quick. I don't know what happened. I don't know. A lot going on.
It's not even that he's the number one tennis player in the world. He was your pal. I mean, he was like,
I know.
I mean, you guys ran as a pack for a little while at that bar. I mean,
and I remember, like, I got home. I got home that day, and I called Eric and I said, hey, I just saw Andy Roddick. He's like, oh, how's he doing? I'm like, I don't know. I blew right past him. I was like, I just kept going. He's like, what? I'm like, I didn't recognize him at first. I was confused. I don't know. I said, he's like, you blew past him. I'm like, I got right in the car, and I thought about it after. I go, and he had this look of, I can sit here and visualize. I can tell you what lane we were in at Publix, The Publix is still there. I know where we were, exact spot. If me and you went there today, I could recreate the
I
situation.
almost want to. I almost want to do like a recreation of this scene with us talking just with this audio over it. I mean,
I can picture the exact spot where he was still standing when I turned around with this look of like sadness over his face and the wave, and I just kind of waved back like, who the fuck is this jerk off? And
oh my god.
yeah, it was Andy Roddick, blew him right off. So
I mean, here's where you and I diverge a little, and this may be because I don't have kids. I would have left the car running with the kid in it and run back in and at least said something to him.
wow.
I mean, plus I might be biased because it's Nick the Dick, and like
Right.
whatever. But I mean, what could happen in like 4 minutes?
You can't do that.
Or grab the kid, tuck him under your arm, and run back in. I mean, I would have gone and at least said hi to the guy and said, "I'm sorry, I totally just didn't. It didn't register. I hadn't seen you in a while, and I got this. I got this stupid kid now, and he's driving me crazy, and I'm not thinking straight."
Right. So now I don't know where Andy Roddick is, and I mean, who knows? He could have been following my life for the last, since 2006 or whatever. Maybe he knows. Maybe he listens. I don't know.
I think you're dead to him.
Probably.
And that he still carries that heat with him. Like he's still like that. I feel like as much as it sticks with you, it sticks with him. I think he could probably point to the spot in the asphalt he was standing in, and the row of cars where you were parked. I bet he knows.
With his beautiful wife, Brooklyn Decker.
Yeah. See, what happened here is you also missed an opportunity. You had lost touch with him. You could have run back in there, said, "Hey, how you doing?" Exchanged numbers again. You could have had a friendship to this day. Instead, you're a man telling a tale of regret here on a podcast no one listens to. I mean, your life could be way different. We could have had him. Dude, we should try and have him on. I'm gonna tag him and ask him to listen to this and see if he wants to.
I doubt the guy that's worth millions and millions of dollars is gonna give two shits about this situation.
I feel like the man that knew you well and came to your shows and rooted for you might be interested in giving his 2 cents on this. I think that
I wouldn't say he knew me well. Like we hung out at the bar, but it's not.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's not like when I went home, I was like, texting him like, "Hey, how's the tennis game?"
No. But I mean, like when you saw each other hanging out, you guys spent time together.
I can't even remember the name of the bar. That's the worst part.
Packy's?
No, it wasn't Packy's. But the guy who runs Packy's now ran that other bar.
Oh, okay.
He's my boy Sammy. But
that was a safe bet for me. That's the only bar I know.
Yeah, well, Packy's has been there for a turn of time.
That's the New York Giants bar, right?
Jets bar, isn't it? New York Jets. I thought.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
I thought they showed Giants games there, not Jets.
Maybe they should. Maybe it's a New York bar. That's why they just show New York
just
stuff.
Both of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my story. But you know what? This sparked me. I think I got to tell more wrestling stories on here.
All right. Oh, for sure you do.
I have so many stories of just incidents in the ring and weird things that have happened, and I think that's what's interesting. Not talking how fat we are.
I mean, not in depth. You're taking the Billy criticism to heart a little bit about how he can't sit through us just talking about food we ate and how fat we are. You also got to understand that I assume there's a little bit of of Billy just being Billy in that, but I agree to the extent that we sometimes do it for sure.
Right. So we're going to tell more wrestling stories. I'm going to tell more life.
This is like the third time we vowed to do this, but
right.
Oh yeah, people.
It's just like our diet.
People like our loss prevention stories. I should tell more of those a week later. Nothing.
Right. All right, we gotta get back into good stories because it's a good one. But yeah, I got nothing else today. That's it, really.
I mean, that you came and delivered. I think that
Can we say it again? Let me record that.
what
I came and delivered for once.
for once,
Yeah.
you left a shirt with some writing on it, so to speak.
And I am going to reach out to Eric and see if he still has the shirt because and Bobby may even have one somewhere because that shirt needs to be seen by the world because it is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I mean, I can create a visual in my head of what I think it looked like, and I'm sure it's within the ballpark. But I would be curious to see what this shirt looked like.
And the funny thing is we'll end it with this: is when the shirts came out. My mom and dad were very active going to my matches, and when the shirt came out, my mom was like, "What the fuck?" What? She's like, "What? Why would Bobby make that?" I was like, "He's a sick fuck, that Bobby Roddick." She thought it was. She was like, "Oh my god, like how could you wear that?" I was like, "The ladies, Mom." She's like, "It's disgusting."
Okay, so here's a question for you before we get off the air. At what age were you? Where, and I assume these revelations came at individual times for each parent. Did your mother and your father realize what a savage animal you really were?
They still don't know. Come on.
Are you sure? I think I mean not when you got in trouble for banging the neighbor's wife. Not okay, even then.
All right. That's a different story.
Yeah, but I mean that was pretty. I mean they knew they heard. They were in the backwash of that one, so to speak. So I'm just curious, like when they realized that their angel was more of like a man whore savage.
Let's not talk about that.
I'm just curious, like if your dad one day was like, "Listen, I get it. I see now."
Yeah, I mean, I just remember him coming into and I know we've talked about this, the house that day when I look across the street on Halloween and he's talking to the neighbor's husband who disappeared for forever and came back, and he opened the door and he goes, "What the fuck did you do?" and I just went, "What?"
Were you wait? So you were just watching from the window, them have a conversation and going, "What could they possibly be talking about?"
I looked through the dining room window, and I'm like, "Oh!" And I see him showing him the phone. I was like, "This is not good."
Worlds are colliding.
Right. I was like, "This is not supposed to happen."
Oh my god!
Right.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think I'm done with you. I think we've got what we came for here, and we can continue with our lives for another 2 days.
All right. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go work out.
All right. I'm gonna try and tag him and see if he responds to this, because it's obviously something he would remember. So. And maybe he can sit back and hear that you're filled with regret, and maybe we could patch things back up between you two. He
probably wants no part of me.
He probably doesn't, but at the same time, maybe he'll find this amusing and go, "Yeah, I was there for that."
I mean, look, I'm pretty sure that his highlight of his $20 million career, by the way, that I'm looking up, he's made $20 million. I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Like, he's still a fucking person. It's like, it doesn't matter how much if just because I became rich, doesn't mean I would stop hanging out with you and talking to you. You'd still be my friend. You know what I mean?
No,
like you're.
I'm saying at his, I'm sure playing in Wimbledon and winning the U.S. Open and
I think this is the memory that sits with him the most. The day you fucking big timed him and he realized you weren't his friend.
I mean, the guy's in the Tennis Hall of Fame. He doesn't care about Tommy Vandal.
He doesn't now. That's for sure.
No. He definitely doesn't. Oh, man. He made $20 million.
Dead to him. He canceled you that day.
Oh.
I mean, it was pretty shitty, and you should have run back in. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I should have.
I mean, listen, you could always have another kid if you fucking got into a longer conversation and Nick overheated in the car. Kid can't grow.
Goodbye.
Kid can't even grow a mustache. What use to see? All right, I'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.